This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses. So TrueFire are actually a sponsor of this channel, which is really cool.
And one of the things that I really like on there, there's some Andy Timmons courses, and today I was just going through there because I saw in the Electric Expressions course, there's actually a little section on tone where Andy talks about his tone, and there's some close-up of pedals and stuff, and I thought, well, this could be an opportunity to kind of look at what's going on there and take some of these things, and you could apply these in any modeler. As well as that, the course itself is full of really cool licks, and if you're a fan of Andy's playing, or you know, melodic guitar playing in general, I really think the Andy Timmons stuff is a really great place to look, because not only is he pretty technically awesome, I think he's one of those players that for me, just everything sounds like, you know, a melody, right? So yeah, if you use there's a link in the description where you could get 40% off. I think there's deals on All Access Pass. I think that might be a convenient way to sort of dip in and out of TrueFire stuff if you're interested in that. But just to draw your attention to that, that's where kind of the basis of some of this kind of tone shaping comes from in this video.
Right, so kind of the mainstay of his rig for many years now, since about 2005, I think, is the Mesa Boogie Lone Star clean channel. Now, this is sort of Fendery, but sort of bigger, sort of too rocky, but essentially channel 1 is just a clean. And in terms of settings, what we're going to be looking for would be something like having the gain at about halfway. The bass he actually rolls off. He's using humbuckers. I've seen kind of different settings for different venues, presumably, and you know, depending on how he's feeling. Also the treble at about halfway, the master volume about halfway, and so that works quite nicely for that. The presence again just a smidge over halfway. So I've got other kind of images of the amp from actual live shows, and you may want to experiment with something that I'll flash up on screen now. One other thing that we can do in Fractal World that you can't do in other places is replace these power tubes for EL34s, which is actually what our boy Andy does. EL34, let's go for some mullards. And then cab wise, I guess it makes sense to kind of stick with something Lone Star-ish. So let's see what we got. Or something with V30s would probably be a good bet too. So let's try the 160. Let's try a 57 and factory 2 and also a 160. Where are you? Let's try 160B. We'll unmute that. And that's kind of a very rough start to the thing. I think I might give myself a bit more space than that though. So if we go to move this block, move right, and go back. Okay, and we'll move this one right as well. Execute, execute. And this one, just so we've got some stuff in front of the amp as well. So then one part of his sound that he doesn't go through in this particular video is a compressor. So he has the Carl Martin, dual compressor. So we'll go with, I don't know, just something like the pedal compressor. And I'm not exactly sure what you'd want to go for settings wise on that. Okay, and he also uses a blues driver or a BB preamp or the Andy Timmons drive. So the blues driver by Boss is not in Fractal World, it is in some other modelers. That'd be a really good bet. The other things though, I think are in here. So we've got the BB preamp, BB pre AT, and settings wise on this, go for something like the gain around 33% of the way up, treble just past, and volume and bass about halfway. For this kind of tone, he'd be using the neck pickup apparently. So that would be a good option for the drive. Let me just bypass that one. Another good option for the drive is, let's go like this, drive 2, edit, is, what have we got, where is it? It's essentially a Marshall governor, is the HS. So Boxer Crunch is one good option for it. And in terms of his settings for this, he has the drive quite high. This is a Marshall style of drive, and everything else sort of midway. So if we just boost the distortion levels, this would be kind of lead tone, and for this you'd probably be using, I think, the bridge. And you could make tweaks from there. And then the other crucial element to his tones would be, I don't know what that was, if we go into edit here, something like the Deluxe Memory Man could be a really good thing, or a dual delay. So he's used a Strymon timeline, he's used dual tape delays, he's used all kinds of things. But the key to what's really going on would be our left and right times. We'd want to have something like 500 milliseconds on one, have something between sort of 350 and 380. Where are you? Okay, and then have some chorusing on these, and this is how he achieves what he calls the halo effect. And I think he goes for something like 3 repeats on each side. Let's increase the depth a bit. But yeah, so when we're playing with our neck pickup, maybe put on this drive. And of course, I can't play like Andy Timmons, but that kind of vibe. And he would control the mix of his delay with an expression pedal, which I think is a really creative way and sensible way to do things. So I'll probably set that up. My expression pedal is over there. So what I would do is go here, modifier, pedal, right, like that. And I'd be then going modifier, modify, max would be what? About, probably not going to be wanting to go beyond sort of 30%. So then if I plug in my expression pedal, I hope, and interestingly, it doesn't tend to use reverb. Yeah, perfect. So that's kind of the fundamentals to the Andy Timmons thing. Now there's obviously a bunch of variables within that. So experiment with the compressor settings. The guitar that he uses has humbuckers, right? I think. You do occasionally see him playing a Strat as well. But that's kind of a good starting point, I think, especially, and use your volume knob. And those two kind of pedal styles, if you don't have a blues driver, the BB preamp, and also something like a Marshall Governor. Something like a Marshall Governor. A try. That's kind of where I would start off with this stuff. You can do an awful lot with most modelers in this kind of realm. That's just how I would kind of start on the Fractal. You may want to experiment with different kind of cab choices. Of course, it's very difficult to totally match stuff with an IR, but experiment with different things and maybe dial in some room sounds as well. But there are kind of the fundamentals, the BB preamp, the Marshall Governor style for lead tones, and then the dual delay kind of settings that have a bit of modulation on them, have about 3 repeats, and can be tied to an expression pedal. I hope that kind of helps, and maybe experiment with the compressor, because it's not a thing that it's not clear what the Carl Martin compressor is actually based on, but you could use that, particularly if you're using something lower output like I am, to kind of boost the front end of stuff a bit. I hope that kind of helps. I'll catch you in another video soon. Use the Buy Me a Coffee link if you want me to drop this Fractal preset into the folder, and cheers for now.